Good afternoon. I appreciate you all being here today. My name is Trooper Cliff Greenfield. I serve as a public information officer for Troop A with the Pennsylvania State Police. I'm currently filling in for Trooper Steve Lamani, who was here for the duration of yesterday. We'd like to provide you with a brief update on this very, very intensive effort in the search for Ms. Pollard. We remain hopeful that she is found. The efforts are continuing. Throughout the course of the incident, we have had well over 100 emergency personnel here at the site working through the night. Some of them have left, many of which have been replaced by other personnel. The efforts are ongoing today. I'd like to also address some rumors that have been going around. We've been made aware of some rumors. One being that Ms. Pollard has been found. That is false. We are still actively searching for Ms. Pollard. We are hopeful that she is found alive. I would like now to turn this over to Chief Batcha with the Unity Fire Department for his remarks. Thank you. Chief.
Thank you. Just to give everybody a quick update, at this point we've had a lot of resources here working the scene, from our local fire departments to a county-wide technical rescue team. We have had the Pennsylvania Task Force 1 Urban Search and Rescue team here helping as well. We're still working on some cameras, some electronic devices, some canines for various reasons to go through and trying to locate Ms. Pollard. At this point, the scope of because of the situation of the mines is beyond sending rescuers in. We've hit that part about 3 o'clock this morning, I believe it was, that we've exceeded that capability. Our work is going to continue with electronics, cameras. We had a couple new cameras that have came to us recently that we're gonna make some attempts to see if we can any hope of locating where she's at in the mine area. At this point, our digging is going to continue with excavation with heavy equipment, and we're not going to be sending rescuers into the area because of the danger that it's in. This was an extremely labor-intensive operation. We started off with getting people ready to do a dig in the area where the initial collapse was. Doing it by hand. The things changed quickly whenever we ran into an oxygen deficient atmosphere, which meant at that point everybody that was going into that area to do that excavation work had to be on breathing apparatus. So that's one of the main things that we had. So we took a lot of resources, a lot of fire departments, the task force team that was here to get to keep going and working where we were at. This time we're still hopeful. We're going to keep working to see what we can find Mrs. Pollard. At this point, we're moving forward, but we're not sending rescuers into any of the mines. It is way too unstable. The Bureau of Mine people have been here. That is another whole concept, being that the fact that it's an abandoned mine versus an active mine. So it's a whole other animal trying to be able to send somebody into that. And that's pretty much all we have for you at this point.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions for either myself or the chief? Yes, sir.
From what you have been able to see, what is sort of the physical situation down in the mine? What does it kind of look like as you're moving cameras around down there?
Thank you. I'll let the chief speak to that.
Yeah, the best I can tell you, he asked about what the condition was in the mine. At this point, the roof of the mine has collapsed in several places. It's unstable. That's the biggest problem. We've been continuing to excavate and pull around. We used the biggest help that we had was a vacuum truck from our local municipal water authority that we were able to remove a lot of that dirt to try to excavate. We did get where we wanted, where we thought that she was at. We've been to that spot. What happened at that point, I don't know. Maybe the slurry of mud pushed her one direction. There are several different seams of that mine, the shafts that all came together where this happened at. The Bureau of Mines provided us some maps. They were hand-drawn maps from the 40s. So there's a lot of things that were written there. They're pretty good what they had, but we're to a point there that it's just not safe because of the actual collapse of the. It's just so old. There's nothing there. None of the shoring that was there is holding up anymore.
You mentioned that oxygen may be an issue down there, and obviously we're all trying to stay positive, but is that now a concern for Ms. Pollard?
Absolutely, it was oxygen deficient, but at the same time, you know, we've had experts, many experts here from various areas. Many of the times we would blow air into. We have fans, special fans that are made for that to blow air, fresh oxygen in. At the same time, though, that can also create another problem in a coal mine. It can actually pull methane back into an area where we didn't have methane. Right now, we had no explosive gases, so that was something that was thrown out early on because of the possibilities of what that could do. Obviously, we don't want an explosion when we're digging.
You mentioned that the roof of one of the shafts collapsed. Does that mean that there is a immediate danger to the surrounding area as well?
I can't answer. I am not a mine expert. That's something for the Bureau of Mines to answer that. But it is something that has happened. Keep in mind, we're 30 feet below ground, below ground level. So there's a lot of there's places where there's evidence that some of the roof has collapsed. How's that in different parts of the mines where they were able to see?
We've been told that their crews are going to have to tear down some of the garage here at Mondays because of mine subsidence. Do you have any information as to that, if there's any structural issues with the garage, or is the restaurant in danger at all?
I can't speak to that. I'm not an expert in those areas, but we do have active involvement with the township and with the Bureau of Mine Safety. Those are things that they would be looking into.
Have you ever seen anything like this before in this area? Not necessarily a rescue, but a sinkhole of this severity?
Personally, in my experience as a trooper, I have not. Chief, I'll let you speak to that if you'd like to.
Yeah, I mean, this Western Pennsylvania is a series of coal patch towns, especially in this area. There's mines all through this area, and I'm sure the Bureau of Mines could give you a little bit more information on that. But they're out there. There's been sinkhole areas. You can probably go back and do some research. I know in the Latrobe area within the last 10 years that there was a house compromised from mine collapse. So it's here. It's prevalent. If you don't, one of the things I know the DEP pushes for this area, Department of Environmental Protection, is there's mine subsidence insurance, and there's maps that you can see if your house is over top of a mine. Definitely a smart thing to do, and they could definitely give you some more information about that.
I know we talked about the shoe that was found before. Has there been anything else found in that area or seen in that area that would make me wonder that is?
Yeah, just real quick on that. When we were doing the initial searches and excavation, before we started excavating, there was a shoe that was located inside of there. It was seen with a camera. We never recovered that shoe, to my knowledge. It was never found. So where it went, it could have possibly went in the back truck. We don't know that at this point, but that was not located. There's been no other articles that we found. Is it possible her shoe fell off and she could have been pushed a different direction? We don't know that. But we did. That was seen on a camera early on.
I know it's hard to put this into maybe words, but you guys still sound a little bit optimistic that you're going to be able to find Ms. Pollard in this mine. I mean, time is of the essence here, though, right?
Time is certainly of the essence. We are still optimistic, and we need to be optimistic. We need to continue to have that mindset. We're continuing to ask for prayers from the community for Ms. Pollard and her family. We appreciate all those who have offered support. We really appreciate the many agencies that have been involved in this so far, not just here on site, but behind the scenes from other locations in other counties, state resources, and the community as a whole is really supporting us in this operation right now, and the family as well.